Hi folks, it's Andy. Welcome to this week's Kendo Rant. Okay, we've got a few questions today. A little bit fewer than normal, which is so nice quick episode today. We'll get this done and dusted in just a second, but before we do, don't forget, like, share, subscribe, you know, all that stuff, but most importantly, shop at KendoStar to support the channel. That's my website that provides amazing, brilliant Kendo equipment. If you do like the videos I put out though, and I did put a instructional video out earlier this week about how to improve your kote strikes. I've done one previously about how to improve your men strikes. I'm going to do about how to do your door strikes. I've got more as well on the way. If you like those sort of things, you'd like to see more of them for free, then yeah, the best way to support us is shopping at KendoStar, because that's what keeps the lights on, and you get amazing equipment. So yeah, it's win-win. So shop at KendoStar. Okay, let's get into this. I have some shinai which are quite different in grip sizes. However, my Tsuba really only fit the smaller grip size shinai. My question is there particular rules on how far up the Tsuba should be on the Tsukagawa? Or is there a chance you could maybe show us how to safely increase the Tsuba hole size, please? Okay, yeah, so the Tsuba, it does have to go all the way to the end of the Tsukagawa. Okay, so if I've got a shinai here and I've got a Tsuba and it won't go all the way on, let's say I can only get it this far, you're not allowed to use it like this. It's got to go all the way up there. All right, so you've got to make sure you get a Tsuba that definitely fits. I've got an example here, I think, so it'll go all the way on like that. Okay, it's got to go all the way up there. All right, if it doesn't, you can enlarge the hole very easily. The safest way is to use there's a Tsuba enlarging tool. You can get it on KendoStar, but I'd only recommend buying that if you've got like a lot of Tsuba that you want to enlarge. It's a good thing like for a club to purchase, but not really so much for an individual unless you've got a lot to enlarge, because like I say, it's quite a pricey product. So if it's just one or two and it's just an individual thing, you can get like a rounded file from a hardware store, or a rasp, which is like a file that's much more coarse, and if you use a rounded one, you'll be able to enlarge the hole. It takes a bit of work, a little bit of effort, but you will be able to do it, and that's the best way to do it. But you do need to make sure that it goes all the way up to the end of the Tsukagawa. All right, you can't have a gap. All right, that's not allowed. Next one. I recently found out that there are 4 Kendall Federations operating in my immediate geographic area, with at least a few areas of territorial overlap. My question is, how or why do a group of Dojos or Senseis decide to form a new federation if there's already one nearby? And how do Dojos decide which federation they want to be part of? So, it's a good question. And it is unfortunately something that does happen. You know, if I think there's an issue with politics, of course, when people sort of have their own ideas, and that is something that happens in Kendo a lot, of course, is people get to a certain point and they sort of disagree with others, and they sort of want to set up on their own. I think the problem is when you start to do that at a federation or an association level, I think that's a problem. It's better, of course, for people to just set up their own clubs and dojos, but to sort of break away from the federation, it's not really a great thing. The idea is that there's supposed to be the FIK, the International Kendo Federation, and then under that umbrella, all the national federations for each country, and then for countries where the Kendo population is large enough, then to have like further federations for each local area. So in Japan, for example, you have the All Japan Kendo Federation. Then it's broken down to the prefectural Kendo federations. So, for example, I lived in Fukuoka, and there was the Fukuoka Kendo Federation, and then the actual city that I lived in was Chikushinoshi. So there's the Chikushinoshi Kendall Federation as well for the city federation. So there's obviously in Japan the population of Kendo is huge compared to most other places. So that's why that happens, but they're all affiliated. There isn't two federations in Chikushinoshi. There's one, and then there's one Fukuoka Kendo Federation that's then affiliated to the All Japan Kendo Federation. So the problem is it really needs to be a federation that is part of that system in order to make sure that the sort of, I hesitate to use to make sure that it's sort of legitimate in terms of the Kendo that's on offer, but because there is there's still a wide variance within federations under the within clubs within federations that are part of the All Japan Kendo the International Kendo Federation. But when you are choosing a club and you are in an area where there's several Kendo federations, you need to make sure that you choose the club that is affiliated to a federation that is also affiliated to the International Kendo Federation through the correct national federation. All right, it's not the case, as far as I'm aware, where that the International Kendo Federation sort of grants official status to more than one federation in a single country. So if you need to make sure that it is part of that. If you're in an area where for some reason there are two, and this could happen, I don't know, because I don't know how, it's not something I've seen happen in Japan, but it's potentially something that could happen elsewhere. There are several federations nearby and they're all affiliated to your national federation, then it's a totally different conversation. Then you have to sort of, I guess you have to do a bit of research and find out which dojo you think is most appropriate for you. It could be which is the easiest for you to get to, which is the most appropriate training times, which, do a bit of research into the club itself, which do you think sort of embodies the sort of type of dojo you want to be a part of. I think that's the only way you can kind of go about judging that in that sort of situation. But if it's not that case and only one of them is registered or officially affiliated with the national body that's then affiliated with the International Kendo Federation called the FIK, then that makes a decision for you, in my opinion. Okay, next one. A few Kendo rants ago, you mentioned that traveling with a bamboo doll requires additional care. What kind of additional care is required? Is it just about padding it so it doesn't get crushed, or more about temperature changes during flight? So yeah, it's both of those things really. It's obviously the bamboo doll. It's not gonna, if it gets sort of crushed and spread open or closed due to sort of impacts and stuff like that, it's going to potentially suffer more damage than a synthetic doll, because they're not as malleable as synthetic doll are. So there's that to take care of. So you definitely need to make sure it's well padded and that your suitcase is obviously like kind of shock resistant. And then also, temperature changes are a thing too. If it's exposed to extreme changes in temperature, it goes from a very hot environment to a very cold environment, and then back to a very hot environment. That could affect it as well. Not saying it definitely will, but it could. It's just something you need to take care of. And then of course, it's not really something about caring for the dough itself, but most of the time when you travel with an airplane, you have to consider the weight of your luggage, right? And bamboo doll are, it's only a couple of 100 grams, but it's still, it's still something. It's an extra pair of socks or something, right? So, you have to care about that a little bit as well. The synthetic doll tend to be a little bit lighter, so they lend themselves to traveling a bit better in that regard as well. It's just something. It's not that you can't travel with a bamboo doll. I've done it myself several times. It's just something you have to be a bit mindful of. Okay. Next one. So Hey Andy, any tips on how not to tense up so much swinging the shinai? I feel like the moment I pick it up, I start to tense up and I'm not able to do big men with fumikomi as I'm unable to consistently keep them both together. When I land, I sometimes feel awkward when I do. Any tips on also trying to keep my hands and feet working together will be amazing as well. Thank you for the awesome videos. Oh, thank you very much. So, obviously this is a problem that pretty much everybody experiences. I think part of it is the way in which, in terms of tensing up, there's a few things you can do. One is like a million suburi, but that's not necessarily the the best way, especially if it's unsupervised, because you could sort of train yourself into bad habits. But one thing I tell my students is try to consider the shinai. Try not to consider it as a heavy item. All right, try not to consider it as heavy, and you need to have all your strength to hold it. But instead, try to consider it as a light item, and that you're cradling it in your hands lightly. Obviously, just with a little bit of extra grip at the bottom of your left hand. Try not to think of it as a heavy item that you need to swing quickly and strongly. You do need to swing it quickly, but that'll come with time. And then just try to think of it that way. All right, try to think of it as a lightweight item that you can easily swing around, easily hold gently. The chances are your grip is too firm on the shinai like this, where you want to be nice and relaxed this way, and hold it nice and gently as if it was lightweight item. In terms of keeping them both together, this is something I mentioned a lot now. I think I mentioned it last week, probably the week before as well. It's sort of coming up a lot. It's a normal thing. I think you're struggling to time your strike, especially with your large swings, with your stamp, with your fumikomi, because you're probably trying to move your hands and arms, your arms and your feet at the same time. You're trying to jump forward as you lift up, and then of course the foot comes down, and then the shinai comes down. What you need to do is you need to raise the shinai first before you move at all. Okay, from your chudan, just raise from the shoulders. Try not to bend your elbows this way or anything like that. Raise from your chudan, and then leap forward with your fumikomi and strike. Okay, don't try to leap forward as you lift up, because your foot will land first, and then the swing will come down, and that's why it's mistimed. I'm sure that's the problem. That's like 99 out of 100 people's problem that struggle with that. Try to treat the shinai like it's a lightweight thing. Don't think of it as heavy that you have to bash with it. Okay, nice and lightly, and then lift, and then leap forward and strike. All right, and I think you'll have a much better time. Okay, next one. So recently I recently passed my Shinsa test, but I was a bit bummed because my testing partner and some of my other dojo members did not pass. Are Shinsa always bittersweet in this way? Well, depends how you look at it, but it's common for that to happen. It is common for that to happen. Not always. I think when I did, I can't remember. I remember when I did my 4th dan, one of my partners passed, the other didn't. When I did my 5th dan, both of my partners passed. And when I did my 6th dan, both of my partners didn't pass. So it depends. And it really does, I don't think the right way to look at it is to be sort of bummed out because the other people failed. You have to sort of focus on your own Shinsa at that point, and that's a challenge for them to deal with. It's easy to say this from the point of view of having passed the grading, but when another person has failed, obviously they've done their best and they've been notified that they need to improve a little. It's better for them to receive that information at the Shinsa, right, rather than for them to sort of pass the Shinsai on a fluke and then not really be able to live up to the grade. I'm not saying that's the case for everybody that that fails the grading, but you know, there's something to be gained from the failure of gradings as much as there is from the passing of them. So it's not necessarily something that needs to be seen in such a negative way. I don't think it's something you need to be sort of upset about. It just means that the other people need to do a little bit more, you know, a little bit more to get over the line. It is a common thing, because it's, you know, it's often the case that the person, you know, out of a group of 3 people, because there's you and the two others that you do the Shinsai with, one of you is going to shine above the others, and that's usually the person that passes. Now, the other 2 people have an opportunity. They have an opportunity to outshine the other match other than the one with you, right? So that's where they have a chance if you are the one that outshines them in your attempt with them. But if they fail to do that, they fail. So that's, you know, it's a sort of common theme in that respect. All right. It's something that's, yeah, part and parcel of it. Okay, last one. Like I say, nice short one today. Hi Andy, the knot on my kote himo has come undone during keiko. I'm not entirely sure how to retie it. Is it just a square knot? Yeah, I mean, there's a proper way to do it. But it's not like a lot of the other knots in kendo, you know, like your men himo and stuff like that do have to be done properly. The kote himo, you can get away with just a sort of double knot or something like that. I'll put a where are we? This side. I'll put a diagram on the screen on this side right now as I'm talking, showing a picture of the proper way. You can sort of freeze frame that and use that to have a go at it if you want to. It's not really complicated. The important thing is that your kote himo aren't all untied and they're not all dangling down whilst you're doing your shiai. Okay, it needs to be nicely tied up and nice and neat. Not just shiai, your keiko as well, of course. And that's it. Okay, so that's it for today. Nice, short, sharp, sweet Kendo rant today. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that sort of thing. Go and check out the video I did as well, if you're still here. Go and check out the video I did about the All Japan Championships. I did the Ippon analysis. I went through all the Ippons from the 3rd rounds of them through to the final of the men's and the women's. Actually, I did the women's and then the men's. All Japan Championships. Some fantastic Ippons in there. Wow, that was fun watching those. Sort of breaking down some of the key points. If you haven't seen that, go and watch it. I really enjoyed doing that video, and I hope you enjoy watching it as well. If you like the videos like that I put out, the videos about techniques or these Kendo rant videos, support the channel shopping at KendoStar, as I said already. And I'll see you all next week. Have a great weekend. Bye bye.